And welcome to Uprising 144K, guys. There is officially a new best hydrogen machine in the world. This one is now doing things that no hydrogen machine in the world can do. So without further ado, I'm literally going to set it up right in front of you here. And this is the newest model. Voila. It is the Holy Hydrogen Lourdes Hydrofix Premium. Now, what makes this machine better? There is a massive amount of updates. This is going to be a little bit of a long video, and I'll do a shorter video later to do kind of a review on it, but I'm going to do my long review here where you guys can see every step of the way, and I'm going to explain everything. Basically, I know every machine out there. I'm sure you guys know that by now. This has the highest purity medical grade hydrogen I've ever seen. Now remember that medical grade, before I go on, I'm not making any medical claims. I'm not giving you any medical advice. Please consult your physicians. But medical grade means high purity. And of all the machines I've seen out there, I'm actually greatly disappointed. I always stay away from machines that use chemicals like lye, that use cheaper metals that are plated, things that use stuff like stainless steel metals, or even Brown's gas, because that's not where the science really is. The science is behind molecular hydrogen. This is why I use this device. It's basically, like I said, the best one in the world now. This is also the only lab tested and certified hydrogen machine in the world where they literally lab test and certify every single machine, which is completely wild. Apparently it's very expensive. But they do it for good reason, which is one of the reasons that like top actual hydrogen specialist doctors in Japan, this is why they recommend this and use this. So no plated metals, no chemicals, none of that. And it's 100% engineered and hand built in Japan. But now let's go over why this new edition is literally by far the best machine in the world. So let's just go ahead and start getting it all set up. So the first thing you're gonna see here is this is actually not only a certificate of authenticity so that you know that you're getting actually something that's legitimate. What I really like about what this company does that nobody else does is they literally show you the date when it was lab tested. It goes down to the serial number. So you know that this actual machine was actually lab tested. And then the results as far as what it's showing and what equipment they use, because a lot of people use the wrong equipment when testing hydrogen. They try to use like blue drops and ORP meters, which is not the correct way. If you guys want to know the correct way, I made a video on that. Then your warranty card and your owner's manual. So anyway, this is what comes with it. I won't look at that any longer. Without further ado, let's just kind of set it up. But the first thing I'm going to tell you that's very different about this new model. So they do appear to have changed the color, so that way you know what model it actually is, and that it's actually what they would call the International Edition, which is better in many ways. It's basically more expensive to build for many reasons, but it's definitely by far better. So let me move some of this stuff. And obviously I'm really excited because this machine is actually doing something that technically should not be possible. And my understanding is that it was a surprise even for the people in Japan. First of all, the water that you're going to be drinking from this device is non-electrolyzed. Now, the older model did that too, but the computer's a little updated and it just makes the whole process cleaner and more pure so that you can have what I call medical grade hydrogen. A lot of people don't understand that there's such thing as medical grade gases. Probably the best example I can say is like when you go to a hospital and you use oxygen, you're using medical grade oxygen. If you go to some welding center, you know, the oxygen tanks they have there are definitely not medical grade oxygen. There's a lot of devices out there that quote unquote are making like the Brown's gas devices where they make some oxygen. I would never inhale that level of or that quality of oxygen because in my opinion, it's definitely not medical grade. The difference between medical grade and non-medical grade is basically extremely high purity. So the purity is key and nobody seems to talk about that really with hydrogen. Super, super important. Wow, this thing looks cool. So we'll go with, that's the first thing. This also has a new technology in regards to membranes. Like a lot of people will say like, oh, I have a, SPE, PEM, membrane, all this stuff. This one is actually completely new and very, very high end. In fact, nobody in the world even has this technology. Nobody's using it in hydrogen. Just remember, I mean, these guys, as far as I've seen through all my research for so many years, is that they basically, and here's the first thing I'll point out, make sure that you have your gasket here, this little black thing on the edge, because you want to make a really nice seal. Let's see what's in here. Okay, we got the measuring cup. This is actually really important because You do not want to mess up the amount of hydrogen or water that you put into the machine. Why? Well, because if you put the wrong amount of water, it's like putting the wrong amount of oil in your engine. You can kind of damage it. So the first thing is, it's going to be hard for me to move the camera because it's plugged in. I'm going to go wash this real quick with, let me see if I can, I got the sink all full of stuff. Let me just do it real quick. I'm going to just water. I'm just going to use water and one of these soft sponges. I'm sorry I can't show you guys, but I'll be very fast. Let's see here. Make sure it's cold water. And I just want it clean because it's brand new. All right, so we'll go with that. Very quick, very simple. Probably takes 10 seconds. Okay, so we'll go ahead and set that on there. I'm going to remove this tape. So that's the first thing, is that this machine has the best membrane in existence. I believe they call it the MFPM membrane, and it has a certain type of film technology. So it's not like your average membrane. Pretty much what everybody's using out there, just if people really want to know, is they use mostly DuPont membranes. Lately, from what I saw in lab tests, I'm not a huge fan of those, and that's what, like I said, really that's pretty much what everybody uses. And they just don't have this technology. This one, I believe, is made by the Japanese. And when I saw the lab tests on a lot of the DuPont membranes, I was disappointed because I saw PFAS, a chemical that I'm not super fond of, that is very, apparently very bad for our health. So I'm glad that this one was also lab tested, no PFAS, super, super clean. And it's doing something again that's impossible. I'm gonna actually show you laboratory footage in the near future, because what it's doing again was not supposed to be possible. I'm actually gonna wash this guy too real quick. So again, sorry guys, this is all live, so it's difficult because I'm not gonna be editing this video. So let's wash this lid. And then, where's that paper towel? Yeah, it's just nice to rinse these off just with water, no soap or nothing, and then just wipe them down. Wipe them down. Okay, so first of all, it has this new type of membrane. Now, what does this membrane really mean? So, way better than the highest grade DuPont membrane. Now, remember, most people who use the DuPont membranes, which is pretty much almost everybody, isn't even using the highest quality one that they have. I mean, it gets expensive, but you know, I want the best, especially when it comes to my health, just like my food or supplements. So it's actually Japanese made. It's the first and only machine in the world. This is why this is the new best machine in the world. They uses this type of MFPM technology. And also obviously for the hydrogen gas, not just the hydrogen water. The reason, what makes it so unique, and let me grab some water actually. I'm gonna go ahead and fill it up with the cleanest water in the world because I make it with a carbon distiller. So this stuff is ultra, ultra clean, 99.9% pure. I've even looked at lab tests on every water filtration modality in existence. And to me, super clean water is super important for your health. You know, water is one of the #1 sources of microplastics these days, so super important to clean it. You guys know I use the carbon distiller for this. Okay, so now let's go to the next part. And so beyond that, this particular membrane is actually made of 3 layers. So the fiber containing the polymer membrane is sandwiched between 2 other membranes. DuPont membranes is not fibrous and only has 1 layer. This is super important. On top of it, this particular membrane creates almost like a vibration and induces some type of vortex on the membrane itself. So now you're literally structuring the actual hydrogen, which is kind of insane. And I think that's why they're getting, I haven't really told you guys what this thing does that no other machine in the world can do. So I'm gonna release that here in a second. So you combine that with the what's called the Vive technology, VIVE, and it increases vortex and the vibration of the hydrogen. So, okay, so let's see here. Now, I'm gonna remove this for a second because when the machine's brand new, we're gonna put 100 milliliters of water. When it's not new and it's calling for water, you only do half that much, which is 50. So I'm going to go for 100. And I got to make sure to pour it right into the filter or the cartridge. I do not want it to go and spill anywhere else. Just like, again, oil in your car. You want it to go right in the correct spot. You don't want it spilling anywhere. If it spills anywhere, right away clean it up. You're going to see that it's red. That oftentimes happens when it's brand new. So nothing to necessarily worry about there. Okay, the other thing that this thing is doing is it makes, so there's just so much it does, this new one. It's making micro nano bubbles. So like extremely tiny nanotechnology as far as nanobubbles. Why is that important? And it definitely is important. Well, in this particular case, it makes the machine literally do, like I said, the impossible. This machine, I'm really excited to actually get a hold of this laboratory footage, because remember, all these are lab tested. And so what they discovered when they were actually testing it is that it was testing higher hydrogen than it's supposed to. So, oh, and by the way, thanks for all the thumbs up and stuff. And I'll read your guys' comments in a second. Let's see. I love mine, but the sticker in the front is coming off. That's actually not, so what that actually is, it's not that it's actually coming off, it's a protective layer. You can just peel it off if you want to. Okay, so now I'm gonna plug it in. And then what I do, let's see if I can show you guys with the camera here. There is a little thing on the back, this yellow tape. I leave it on, okay? I just leave it on because I don't want that plug coming out, because that could be a problem. Okay, so now it's pretty much set up. That's how easy it was. And then I just hit the button. Let's see here. Let me see if I can get it pointed the right direction for you guys. Just for the sake of the video, hit it once. Now, here's the other interesting part. This new technology with the membrane apparently doesn't need to be broken in. So you don't have to soak it anymore like you once used to. I can see that it's not making a ton of bubbles right now because it's brand new and it's gonna take a little bit, but you don't have to break it in, meaning you don't have to soak it or anything like that. So now that and then it's got the 90-minute mode. The 90-minute mode, for a lot of people who've asked, is just for inhalation purposes. 30-minute mode is just to make 1.5 liters of water. Now, if you were to put less water, like if you were to put, there's a little line right here, that's half a liter, then you would only need to run it for 10 minutes, and then it would be fully saturated. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep going here. As far as the durability of these membranes, so although they're obviously more expensive, higher quality, cleaner, which is the part that I'm the most concerned about, because I don't like the machines that use plated metals, and they're really not using the highest quality of metals from what I discovered in basically every device out there. These membranes wear out. Well, this new one apparently is much more durable. In fact, it's so durable when compared to the highest grade in existence. So now this has obviously surpassed it. It literally can last just so long. I mean, it could be literally 10 years or so. They don't even know exactly how long it's going to last, because that's how robust it is. So that's pretty wild. Okay. They also improved the titanium to even a higher quality and craftsmanship, making it actually smoother, which allows the electrical current to spread more evenly and over the larger membrane surface area and create even more nanobubbles. I mean, okay, so now let me just finally share with you guys, let's just get to the meat of the matter. Yes, it's doing a bunch of really cool stuff, but what's the most exciting thing, like I said, is when they test it, it's testing higher than it's supposed to. Apparently the Japanese thought, okay, there's something wrong with our testing equipment. And they test it correctly. Again, unlike everybody else that I've seen out there. The Japanese know how to test these things, and they're using very expensive equipment that is actually made in Japan to test for hydrogen. Well, no matter how much they calibrated the device, and I'm gonna try to get this footage for you, apparently it just kept testing higher than it's supposed to. And that doesn't make any sense, because you're not supposed to be able to technically saturate the maximum saturation of hydrogen in water in our atmospheric pressure is roughly 1.6 ppm. And if I remember correctly, the device that was testing it was showing something like 1.8 or 1.9 ppm, which again, didn't make any sense. And apparently it's because they have developed, by trying to improve every little tiny piece of this thing, which is so cool because no companies do that, basically they created something that they call sticky hydrogen. So this hydrogen is beginning to stick to things, which is really actually, in my opinion, what you want. So when you take it in, it's going to be sticking to your organs, sticking to the different parts of the body rather than just dissipating. So this is very unique. Nobody in the world is doing this. So this is literally how I set it up, guys. It's really, really easy. They also have more technology in this that's pretty apparently difficult for most people to understand. But obviously they have the SPE, PEM technology. That's actually a very common technology nowadays. Back in the day, it wasn't. But it's their NEMCA effect technology. So I believe that stands for non-Faradaic electrochemical modification of catalytic activity. So Japan leads the world, guys, in basically renewable energy research and technology. And so there are companies like Toyota that have been conducting research and technological development, basically, of the latest utilization of hydrogen energy and renewable energy. So the latest technological advancements in Japan have given us non-Faradaic conversion that goes beyond conventional, just electric technology, which everybody uses. There's a reason that this thing is like so light years beyond anybody. So that's why I was so excited. I've been trying to get this new model for a while, actually. So anyway, that's pretty awesome. And then I told you already about the Vive technology, which is vortex-induced vibration engineering and expanded metal technology. That's also something that nobody does. Very, very unique, and forces like these. Oh man, the whole thing's really complex. If you guys want me to tell the whole thing. So basically, the Lourdes Hydrofix Premium uses state-of-the-art Vive expanded metal technology, okay, from Japan to generate ultra-fine super nano hydrogen bubbles of obviously hydrogen. Super small and way more stable than basically any other nano bubbles in existence that I've ever seen. It's very unique. It is a patented design that literally forces the nano hydrogen bubbles downstream, inducing some type of vibration and creates this powerful vortex. It's almost like they induced it with the way nature just basically works. It's a long story of apparently how they discovered this. A lot of work has gone into obviously creating this. So it generated the world's first and only structured hydrogen water while achieving full saturation of the longest lasting stable hydrogen water that is more permeable and bioavailable as far as I have ever seen. Now, expanded metal technology, another interesting reason that this makes it the best there is because if you ever look at most of the metals that are used by devices, either it's just a plate or a lot of, I should have brought one, like these Chinese devices where they have like just a circle and they just punch holes into it, okay? That is very basic manufacturing methods. Obviously, it's completely inferior, especially in terms of, durability and even corrosion resistance and nanoization of bubbles compared to expanded metal. The expanded metal is almost like, think of like silly putty, and you're pulling it where the strands get so tiny so you can produce these really amazing nanobubbles. Okay, so that's basically the gist of it, guys. I was literally just going to set this up, which is why I thought, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do this video for you guys. Let me see if you have any questions, actually, since we are technically live. Somebody says, you got the new Hydrofix. Yes, I know. I'm actually really excited about this one. This is definitely beyond any Hydrofix ever made. And that's a pretty bold statement because even their older models are better than anything there is out there. And they're still using the same basic design, obviously. It's kind of like the Tesla cars. They still have the same basic design, but they change the motors. They make all these updates internally. And it was nice that they changed the color because that kind of lets us know. And Deborah says, oh, she's talking about the sticker on the front. I already answered that. Energy Healing says, how much is that? It's about $2,500. Now, this is an interesting one, I guess, based on that question. I remember I used to always look for the cheapest hydrogen. I didn't realize the difference between medical grade and non-medical grade hydrogen, so the purity, but also how long these machines last. And I didn't realize every little component is, of the highest quality. I mean, that's what they did. They went for the highest quality, cleanest hydrogen, yada, 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 which makes the machine actually last way longer than the average machine out there. And what I realized in the long term is that it actually ends up being cheaper because of how long it lasts and the reliability. I had discovered that, well, almost every single hydrogen machine has actually got problems with reliability. That's something that I had to learn the hard way, unfortunately, because I bought a lot of devices and it really sucked. And then, of course, it came with the inhalation kit. I guess if you guys want to see the inhalation kit. And again, I like that you can now see it. They used to be clear, so they make the gasket black so you can see it. Make sure that it's there because it's got to make that tight seal. And these cannulas, a lot of people don't know this, these are actually unique and special because they're made of a special material, apparently by the Japanese, by Yamaha, because they discovered, because they measure and test everything, and apparently people just don't do that, they realized that they were losing hydrogen through the cannula. So, I mean, they just, they did what basically Japanese do, which is they looked at every single, the tiniest of details. So, and of course, as a hydrogen nut and how important this is to me for my health, I appreciate that they did that when I've never seen any other company do that. So that's kind of interesting. Okay, Steve Moore says, so we have had ours for a few weeks. How quick does the hydrogen gas escape from the water, or how fast do you need to drink the water? Personally, when I pour myself a glass of water, I drink it literally within 1 or 2 minutes. I sit down, I take, some sips, some gulps, depending on my mood. And it doesn't last super long. It all depends on movement of the water and temperature. So on average, it'll last about an hour. But remember that within 1 hour, all the hydrogen is gone. So to me, that means that within 30 minutes, about half of it is gone. So in 15 minutes, 1/4 of it is gone. And you want every bit of the hydrogen in if you're trying to really do it for obviously therapeutic reasons. So hopefully that answers your question. Let's see, the next person says, it's nice to see a company that takes pride in their products and innovation. I could not agree with you more. That's exactly why I love what they're doing, where I see a lot of companies basically not really improving their products. Sometimes they don't really take huge steps. This is a huge step, guys. This membrane is absolute, and the metal that they're using, and this cartridge actually is a huge part of the technology. Everything in here is food grade for anybody who actually is wondering, and they made it so easy to use. And again, the reliability, the quality of hydrogen, the fact that you can inhale it and make basically the best water in the world from any hydrogen machine that I've ever seen is just completely unbelievable. And don't be misled. I think a lot of people don't understand the whole ppm thing because they'll see small amounts and somebody will claim something as like, oh, it's got 9 ppm, though I've shown videos that really have shown lab tests where they don't seem to actually produce the hydrogen that they claim. This one, not only has it been lab tested, and it really does show that it's making the proper amounts of hydrogen. In fact, this one, if we really want to look at it, 1.633 basically is full saturation. So that's nice. And that's the reason that's important is because you really are not going to be able to test this equipment yourself. People think that they're going to test this stuff for themselves. They can't. You need equipment that is not only very expensive. I tried to look into it, by the way. The equipment would not only be expensive, even if I were to get it from Japan and send it to America, the machines need so much calibration and so much maintenance, and they're so expensive, and you can't get that maintenance done in America. It'd just be useless, basically, to get an American even try to use it. And in Japan, of course, they had issues with people saying, well, we don't know how much it's making. They were trying to test it with the incorrect equipment. So they just started lab testing and certifying every single one of them, which, like I said, is insane, the fact that they even do that. So, all right, guys, well, that's the full review. I'll try to make a separate video later that is not live. I just wanted to do this one because I was just too excited, and I was like, I absolutely have to open it up. If anybody has any questions, here's your last chance. If not, thanks for all the thumbs up. Obviously, it helps the algorithm and helps people find such information. But me personally, I just appreciate it. Appreciate you guys when you support the channel. It's free to support the channel, so I appreciate you guys doing that. And that's about it, guys. So as you can see, you can definitely see, I don't know if I can zoom in here, it's obviously still just starting. So you don't see a lot of bubbles yet. It's just absolutely brand new, and it's gonna take a little bit for it to really start making those really good nano bubbles. And I'm gonna get you that footage, guys. I promise you I'm gonna do everything I can to get that laboratory footage where they're basically showing what this machine is actually doing. And the only way you would know is from a proper lab test. So that's gonna be exciting. And that's pretty much it, guys. I can say goodbye now, like I said, unless anybody has any final questions. Otherwise, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. I don't see any more comments. I don't see any other questions. So with that, I'm gonna say goodbye, guys. Oh, thanks for the thumbs up, guys. I see that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time on the next one. Oh, wait a second. Somebody's commenting. Somebody says, thank you for your attention to detail. Excellent program. Oh, thank you so much for that. And there really is a lot of detail when it comes to hydrogen. If anything, appreciate your time. Thank you guys for that comment. The main important things to look for in hydrogen is, first one, you don't want to use any chemicals. I don't like the hydrogen pills because of chemical reactions. I don't like machines that use lye or sodium hydroxide, no matter how much they try to tell you that it's safe. That stuff is really nasty. And so that's the first part. Then the metal. Always look to make sure that it's not using plated metal, because when you're sending electrical current with plated metal, odds are it's probably going to flake most likely, right? It says, so do you need to drink as much with the new machine? It's not that you need to drink as much. And I wouldn't say that necessarily. For me, I would continue to drink the same amount, but you're probably just going to get greater results. That's all. Could you drink less if you wanted to? I guess you could. I mean, I still would try to get a certain amount of hydrogen in me. So that would be my answer. Now, again, so the metal is important, and this metal is so beyond, like if people really understood metallurgy or the science of metals, we're talking about, look at like a samurai sword. That is not just normal metal. In fact, I have a really fancy knife. I guess I could show you guys. I have a really fancy knife from Japan. I guess I don't have the blade here. Actually, I do, but I don't know if you guys really want to see it, but I have this really nice blade from Japan. The metal is a huge part of the technology when it comes to hydrogen machines. And I hate to say that China doesn't really have that level of technology when it comes to metals. There's very few countries that really have that proper level of technology, and the Japanese are the only ones who really invested in it for proper hydrogen production, because I've looked at every machine out there. And unfortunately, I mean, like I said, most of them are made from China, and then I've even seen them buy the metal from China and try to put it in other devices and then claim that the device is made somewhere else in the world, whether it's America or Taiwan or Turkey or some other country, because nobody wants to say that their stuff is made in China. Everybody's kind of quote unquote embarrassed about that, and they don't want you to know the truth. But you know, even in Japan, some companies have tried to literally send parts from China, and then they try to put them together in Japan so they can say made in Japan. That's how ridiculous it's gotten. But this company did not do that. It's one of the reasons that they shot up to #1 in all of Japan, is because they have not only the best product, but wanted to do everything in-house, everything in Japan, everything handcrafted, everything top-notch, basically. And like I said, the membrane that's being used in this, beyond the metal, the membrane is a huge part of the technology, but there's actually more, and technically I'm supposed to not be at liberty to say, because I ask a lot of questions, and I found out what they're doing here. But the company actually asked me after they told me. They said, you know what, actually, we would appreciate if you didn't say anything, because this is proprietary information. And it took so many years of research and so much effort to figure it all out for me to just quote unquote give away the secrets on how it's done. And so far, nobody has figured it out. They're the only company in the world who actually figured it out. Somebody says, wow, much smaller than a Kangen machine. Yeah, I mean, this is actually far, far, far superior to a Kangen machine. The Kangen machines were the beginning, and obviously nobody thought that they were true hydrogen machines. They were all about making alkaline water, which, by the way, you don't actually want to do, according to the research, okay? First of all, this water is not getting electrolyzed, the water that you're actually going to be drinking. With a Kangen, it would be, and that creates impurities. I would not want to drink electrolyzed water now that I know the long-term research, especially when it's making it alkaline. True hydrogen machines are what you call pH neutral. So that's the way that it's really supposed to be done. And so when you really fully saturate, it's basically pH neutral, and way better than a Kangen. It's also way better because you can actually do hydrogen gas inhalation from it. Also, a Kangen machine, you cannot be inhaling from it either. Not only is it cheaper, but it's actually, literally far superior, and you don't have to hook it up to your sink. That was the thing that really bothered me with the whole Kangen machine, because you have to use their filters, their modality of water filtration, which is not the best, by the way. Carbon distillation is the best. Watch my video 388. I show the lab reports. Remember, I go off of data. I'm not going off of opinions and what people want to, quote unquote, have an opinion about. I go off the actual data. I mean, I chose, this is the best machine, not because it's an opinion or whatever. It's just the facts. I have to look at the metal technology. I got to look at the membrane technology. Even the computer is actually really unique, because most computers, they send electrical current. This one's actually regulating it in such a way. Now, this gray model like this is actually the international model. So the programming for the computer is very different, actually. And it's all about controlling the electrical current, because they found that some equipment, older equipment, the electricity would actually arc. and create more impurities, small ones, but it wasn't the best it could be. And the Japanese wanted it to be the best in the world. So that's a pretty fancy thing that really nobody else does. And then, like I said, this cartridge is a huge part of it, and everything in this thing is food grade. All very, very clean, basically, as far as how it's doing it. And not just clean, but the proper levels, super safe. There's a lot of other hydrogen modalities that I would never use personally with a child or a pregnant woman or certain elderly people or certain people with certain medical conditions, just things that I would never do. So this is basically, yeah, it's not even close as far as the Kangen machine. This is so far beyond. The Kangen machine is still using very old rudimentary technology, actually. I don't know why they haven't changed. I really don't understand that because they've been around for so long. And they even tried to perpetuate now saying, like, they're like, oh, you know, ours is a hydrogen machine now. And the truth is that it was never a hydrogen machine. It was making some hydrogen inadvertently, which is how they discovered that it wasn't really the alkalinity of the water giving you the results. It was a little bit of hydrogen it was making. So when you really go with a true hydrogen generator that was designed from the ground up with all the proper, basically the science and technology that was discovered through all the basically all the medical research or all the scientific research that they did on hydrogen. That's why I actually found this machine, was because it was based on the scientific research. That's what I was looking for. So yeah, not even the King is not even close. I hate to say that, but it really isn't. I have one. I definitely never use it anymore. And that's just the way it is. Thanks again for all the thumbs up, guys. And I think that's it. I think I'm gonna let you go unless, again, there's any final questions. This is people's time to ask. People ask me, well, let me just answer some of these questions, but people probably didn't watch the video this long. Sometimes people wanna do the inhalation. If you're gonna do the inhalation, you have to take the hydrogen catcher out, this hydrogen keeper, the white crown thing in there. And then you have to change the lid, so you'd put a different lid on, and it has to be full of water. And the moment you start it, you can start inhaling the gas. Some people actually thought that you had to let the machine run for quite some time before you start inhaling the gas. That's not true. And then after you're done inhaling, whether you did it for 30 minutes, 90 minutes, 3 hours, however long you want to inhale, the water is definitely going to be practically full of hydrogen. So you'd be able to actually drink the water if you wanted to on top of it. Though you know that I usually recommend, part of my protocol is you drink the hydrogen water first. I discovered that if you drink the hydrogen water first, that enhances the inhalation. But be very cautious with doing that with certain equipment. I have found people, unfortunately, who are using different equipment, tried that modality or that method, and caused them problems with their health, specifically Brown's gas devices. They're trying to drink that water, and yuck, I would not be drinking Brown's gas water, especially if they're using lye. Literally, I've seen, it's sad, but I've seen people who literally had kidney problems after doing stuff like that. So, and hydrogen is actually amazing for kidneys. In fact, I have a family member that had kidney issues, and they literally used the cleanest water in the world from my carbon distiller, which is, I guess, right over there. If you guys want to see it, from mypurewater.com. Let's see, discount code uprising 144K if you guys want one of those. But you can put any kind of water you want to hear that I like, or that you like, but I like the cleanest water there is. And obviously amazing for kidneys, amazing for liver, but I've personally seen issues with people's liver and kidneys by using the wrong equipment. So that's why I don't recommend any other equipment, no matter how much those companies offer me. They always trying to offer me money and try to entice me with that, but I won't do it. So I only share with you guys what the best is and what I personally use. Okay, next question. Somebody says, does running the machine for extended periods of time affect the life of the unit? Well, I would say yes, because it's kind of like letting your car sit in the driveway just idling all day. Is that going to make the oil in the car dirtier? Yeah. Is it going to be using up gas and affecting the spark plugs? And yeah, it's going to affect the life of the car. Is it going to affect it a ton? Probably not. But in this particular case, I mean, this new one is just so robust and so reliable that, I mean, it's going to run a long time. But me personally, I have a routine and a rhythm on how I use the water. So basically in the morning, the first thing I'll do is I'll come up and I'll just turn the machine on. And that's the first thing I'm gonna do. And once I do that, then I'll drink, a certain amount of water, I'll refill it, but I won't turn it on until I know that I'm getting close to the next time I'm going to consume water. And maybe lunchtime is getting close or something, and maybe I go for a walk and I'll fire it up so when I get back from my walk, then again, I can have the water. So I kind of have a rhythm with it instead of leaving it on all day long, which I kind of used to do. And it was still fine. I mean, the machine never had an issue or anything. So in fact, I should show you guys how to use the panel too. It's you either tap the button or hold it down. So right now, if I were to tap it, well, nothing's gonna happen because it's already on a certain mode. If I were to hold down the button, you can see the lights actually turn off. Even in the picture, you just can't see it because it's kind of daytime right now. but it's still running. You can still see the numbers here. Now, if I hold it down again, then it just shuts it off. And so I can either tap it once to start it again, tap it again for the 90 minutes. If I tap it again, it goes right back to 30. And if I hold it, it turns off the lights. And that's just for kind of like nighttime if you don't like those lights. So it's really simple. It's either tap or hold the button. That's literally how easy it is, guys. All right, let's see if I answered anybody else's questions. Okay, so guys, again, last chance to ask any questions. Otherwise, I am going to go ahead and get going. And I'm probably going to run this, I'm going to guess like just 3, 4, 5 times today, just before it gets all nice and broken in where you see the bubbles. Now, earlier I was telling you guys that you don't need to break in the membrane. So you don't have to soak it anymore the way you used to, which is really nice because this has a new membrane technology. So that's going to be pretty awesome. And I'm going to guess probably within the first 3 uses, it's going to be just fine. It should be making full hydrogen by that time. And that's it, guys. Okay, thanks for all the thumbs up again. If anybody has any final questions, you can ask them now. Otherwise, if people ask them later, I'll do my best to answer them. But guys, it's official. There really is a new best hydrogen machine in the world. And you know that whenever there's something that's the best, I will always do a video about it. I will always go and buy whatever the newest best machine is from any company, you know, from anywhere. I'm not going to be biased. Whoever has the best, that's what you guys are going to see on my channel. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time on the next one. Thanks for all the support, guys. Till next time.